Hello, hello, I'm Tracy Pierce, and thanks for joining me for this series of mini animal communications. So this series was really born out of what was happening here in the United States in March, April of 2020 here with the pandemic. As you know, everything started to shut down, I became really curious about what the animals thought about all of this. And they kept encouraging me to, hey, do a video series, get people involved. So that's how this all came about. And it's been really fun. And even though we're not totally still in lockdown anymore, more animals have been coming forward asking me to continue to share their wisdom with the world. So that's what we're doing here today. So really right now what I've been doing, previously we were doing a fair number of domestic animals, but right now I'm just talking to the animals that kind of show up in my own everyday life. So it's included a lot of wild animals during this last month or so. And we're going to continue that trend today. So we're going to be talking with a stink bug today. Here's its picture. I was a little bit sad I didn't quite get this photo as detailed as I might have liked. It's not quite as in focus. But this bug was definitely showing off for me, like it was standing there and then it would rotate so I could kind of get pictures of every side of it. So it definitely has something to tell us today. So if you're joining me live on Zoom, on the bottom bar, there should be a button that says chat. If you have questions for this stink bug, go ahead and submit them and I will ask the stink bug your question. So I'm just going to take a moment and get quiet and start tuning into this little bug and see what it would like to share with us today. So I kind of get the sense that I'm connecting with more of the archetype of the stink bug rather than necessarily this bug as an individual being. It's showing me this connection to the earth. It's showing me like it's vibrating at this similar frequency as the earth. Is there more to that? I feel like there might be more there. So it's showing me this combination of earth and air elements. I think we had that last week with the bee, I think. Little stink bug. What is there? Is there more to that? So it's showing me this particular, again, vibration that it's carrying. And so I wonder, stink bug, is the vibration that you carry the same as other insects, or is there something very particular about your species, the stink bug, that you're showing me? It feels more like a universal kind of thing. It's showing me multiple different kinds of insects and how the flying ones, it's showing me like ants. Also, like ants have more of the earth vibration, it's saying, but it's showing insects that also have wings and that fly bring more than just the earth element. They bring that air element. Is there I feel like there's something you're trying to show me about why that's important. Is there more to it? So what it's showing is, so I see the earth, and then this layer of air, let's call it the atmosphere around the earth. And the insect is showing, the stink bug is showing that there's something about the particular vibration of insects, the flying insects, that keeps that layer of air. Um, it almost feels like it keeps it closer to the earth. Is that right? Yeah, the stink bug is showing how these little animals that fly and walk on the earth keep that earth element, I'm sorry, the air element closer to the earth. It's almost like part of the gravity is what it's showing, how gravity keeps the air in the atmosphere close to the physical earth. The bug is showing that that's part of the job of the winged insects, is to bring those combination of the earth and the air element, and it helps hold the the air element around the earth. Okay. Is there more you want to share about that, or like what you feel like your role is in the world, or anything else? Really, this forum is open for you. So the way this bug is presenting itself, it's almost like looks like a gem of some sort, like maybe an emerald or something. And this bug is saying that insects are as precious to the environment, to the world, to the ecosystem, that, everything, that the system that keeps everything going in the world. Insects are really key to that. Yeah, and like when you see these different kinds of insects, if you could think of them as a precious gem, there is something like in honoring what they bring to this larger ecosystem. It's really showing how each individual insect, even if it's, he's showing me like an insect getting crushed by a human foot, like even that particular insect is actually important, whether it plays a key role in the moving forward of the earth. And even if it gets crushed, it still becomes a little bit of fertilizer, if you will, for this bigger system that is churning and moving. So what I'm seeing now is kind of like this sand. It's almost like a sand storm. It's showing how, so I'm seeing this desert, and how there can be the big winds and sand moves into these dunes and different shapes and gets blown around. So it's showing how insects are kind of like these individual grains of sand. Like you look at an individual grain and you might think that it's not important or doesn't contribute to the whole. But like once you get these multiple grains of sand, there's really something that can happen and be built, or change and movement, and showing how each individual grain of sand contributes in some way to the greater whole, whether humankind can see that or not. Hmm. Yes, I think I get what you're saying there. Yeah, that feels, it almost feels similar to, how some individual humans might feel like they can't really make a difference in the world, or something like that. But then the conglomeration or the group effort, the individuals do really matter. So I wonder, I don't know, I keep getting this question of, about like, what do you think about pesticides and farming, and the way we're approaching our natural environment or landscape these days? as a human race, I guess is what I mean. So this little bug is saying, well, I understand the human desire to want to play God, if you will, and to move and change things and to bend things to your own will. There's a lot of power in that. It's, yeah, the bug is showing it's, I almost see like this stereotypical image of a white man God with, gray hair with his long finger kind of pointing down. And Stinkbug is saying there's something very powerful in that image, that humans want to think of themselves as gods, or to, there's something very alluring about having that kind of power. And the stink bug is showing just like humankind as a whole has this kind of twistedness in their belly, like in their low belly, it's showing, and it has to do with power. That's what the stink bug is showing. He's saying like when we play God and we try to change things in the earth, that a lot of times our motivation is coming from this sort of twisted place in our bellies. Like we don't really fully understand how to wield power, is what this stink bug is saying. Yeah, there's this masculine action pushing force behind it, that it's showing. In our society, we're very connected. We very much understand the doing, the effort, the action that needs to happen in order to create things. And this bug is saying we're very disconnected from more of the feminine side, where we're able to receive, or it's showing me like, let's say, a homestead that has been kind of carefully thought out, like, okay, there's a blueberry bush here and there's some other orchard trees here. Um, he's saying it's not that these things don't require physical effort, but we're disconnected from this feminine part that knows how to just receive from nature rather than having to make it into something that gives us something. Is there more to that? So it's pointing to just, yeah, this balance between masculine and feminine energies. There's showing like a struggle that's happening between the two. Like we're not quite integrated enough between our masculine and feminine qualities. We tend to think, oh, you're a woman, you're more feminine. Oh, you're a man, you're more masculine. There's this sort of it's almost like showing a box that we put ourselves in according to our gender or our physical sex. Do you have any suggestions about maybe how we could be more aligned or more integrated with those two parts together? So the stink bug is saying it's largely been just we're so plugged into the masculine action part that the first step is even becoming aware that we have a feminine side, And, it's saying, feminine side is much more than wearing pink or, putting your makeup on or things like that. It's a bigger concept than that. It's, yeah, it's showing how even women, how we tend to gear into that masculine effort piece. Um, Most women, it's saying, can be quite masculine in how they approach their lives and how they do things. So is it really just a matter of becoming aware of the feminine parts, or do you feel like there are activities that bring it forward more? Showing, scheduling time for relaxing. Is it scheduling unscheduled time is kind of what it's saying. Um, yeah, scheduling time where it's like, okay, I'm going to sit and relax and just tune in, or rather than, okay, I have this time block and I'm going to do A, B, C, D, E, having your to-do list, like actually scheduling blocks of time where you're sitting and just kind of being, if you want to read a book, that's fine, but just like sitting and observing is one of the first ways. Um, he's saying like so many people are so uncomfortable with not having that action piece, like something going all the time. It's definitely pointing at me saying, yes, Tracy, think about your childhood, how like there was always something scheduled every single hour of the day. Sometimes it seemed like there was always something to do. And it's showing that maybe the coronavirus has showed us how to be a little bit more with unscheduled time, at least some of us. It's showing it actually made it more difficult for some people, especially parents who had to homeschool their children and try to work from home. But so you feel like the coronavirus has maybe helped us move towards that? He's like, well, actually, it feels like people got a taste of that with coronavirus and they were maybe a little uncomfortable. And as soon as, they were able to come out of these lockdown modes, they wanted to go out and do and engage with that again. A stink bug feels like it needs to be, it's not something that just coronavirus and being in lockdown is going to provide. Like it has to be more of a conscious effort. That's what the stink bug is saying. Okay, so we've got a question coming in for you. How do you think we can access more of that feminine to show ourselves and to support ourselves and the earth and the creatures? Well, sounds like we kind of just answered that, right? Is there more? So the stink bug is saying there is more to what he just said, but really feels like that the starting point is having those unscheduled time moments. Yeah, I feel like I've had some of those lately, and sometimes I just feel really uncomfortable. It's almost like we've been so highly programmed that it's hard to step out of that. Do you have any advice? Or there's a sense of like, I feel that action piece in the belly again, that there's like this driving ahead action thing in the belly. And it's showing like as you're sitting in your, day-to-day life in your unblocked little section of time, there's a way that you can sit and just kind of tune into your lower belly and really let it kind of, you might get a sense of unwinding or letting the belly just kind of open and spread, showing that that can be one really good step forward. Great. Thanks so much. So we're kind of coming towards the end of our time here. If you have any last questions, go ahead and type them in. So I wonder, little stink bug, is there anything else that you might like to share with us to wrap up today, or anything you want us to know about you? So there's this sense of, this picture of this bug was taken a little over a month ago, and it's showing like I think the reason I'm tuning into maybe more of the archetype or the overall feeling is because I don't get the sense that this bug is still alive. And it's showing like in the insect world and these other creatures that have shorter spans of life, that there's this sense of kind of every moment mattering. It's like, yeah, even if I'm flying to a different plant or something, there's a possibility that I'm at any moment going to become food for a bird or some other kind of creature that's, eats bugs. And there's this realization that even that is really important. Showing how, there's this controversy or kind of upheaval, especially in the United States right now, around workers and jobs and who's essential, who's non-essential, who can work, who can't, what kind of um, regulations, extra regulations need to be there. And showing how every person in our society is contributing in some way, shape, or form, whether they understand that it is important or not. Yeah, it's kind of reflecting me. Like sometimes I wonder, like, oh, am I making a big enough contribution to society, or am I fulfilling my purpose in being here? And the stink bug is showing like even it becoming food for another animal is important, and it contributes something to the larger earth or universe. It's really encouraging people who, maybe don't like their jobs, or, think their job is beneath them or something like that, that to take in and understand and allow yourself to feel that there is really a contribution there. It's really interesting. Thank you. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and stop this share here. All right, excellent. So this series has been really fun for me to do. There have been a lot of animals come forward who, just like, wow, I had no idea they might share something like this, and it just brings me a lot of joy to relay these messages for you. And I hope you'll join us again sometime live, or head on over to my YouTube page where you can check out many of the other videos I've recorded with animals. So I hope to see you again, and until next time, take care and be well.